Lugas have the IQ of a human genius.
J6 prisoners did nothing wrong.
Did you just say something?
The FBI should be dismantled. Prosecute the prosecutors. All right, I gotta go. Bye.
I'm not a gambling man. I'm not a gambling man. I'm no fun at the casinos, okay? I'm no good at that. Mm-hmm. I want to go to the casino with you. I want to go to a 7-Eleven and pick the Powerballs with you, Julie. Because you are the luckiest person on planet Earth right now. You have been predicting what should happen with President Trump's first couple weeks on this show for years. And now here we are. Julie, you were not only right, dare I say, some little birdies tell me you are perhaps the architect of the current salting of the earth inside of federal agencies. And so a very happy early Super Bowl touchdown dance victory to you, ma'am.
Well, thank you, Benny. What a Monday morning. Thank you for all the energy that you're sending my way. I think you had a lot of blackout coffee this morning, so that's good. Yes, this is amazing news. And honestly, it's happening at a quicker pace and more widely, I suppose you would say, than I originally that you and I have discussed or anticipated. So yes, this is tremendous news what's happening. Top officials at the DOJ, top officials at the FBI being walked out of their offices. This is Washington field office, the Vegas field office, the Miami field office, which of course was participated in the armed raid of Mar-a-Lago. And it looks like what I'm really interested in, Benny, is this questionnaire that went out to every field office asking all FBI employees to account for their involvement in the January 6th investigation and prosecution of now, well, until it was shuttered, 1,600 Americans. So that questionnaire is due today by 3 o'clock. I expect they will be reviewed and processed quickly. It could be, Benny, up to 6,000 FBI employees who were involved because every FBI field office was involved in that 4-year-long investigation and prosecution. So I think there's going to be more heads rolling today, tomorrow, and throughout the next few weeks.
So you have oft been on this program saying it is the 7th floor, the C-suite of the FBI that needs to go, and these people are utterly evil, and Donald Trump needs to be rid of them because they are the rats and the cancer inside of the organ itself. And if you were to save the organ at all, you must rid it of the cancer. And so that like Black Friday was this Friday at 5 p.m. There was a absolute total metaphorical bloodbath inside of the FBI. This is something that obviously you've been cheering on, and it was all you're saying it's not total yet though, and that it's just the start.
Correct. It is still just the start, I believe. Like I said, 6,000 or so FBI employees estimated to have been involved in the January 6th prosecution and investigation. And I really want to applaud the acting Attorney General, James McHenry, and the acting Deputy Attorney General, Emil Bove. They are the ones who are responsible for this immediate and swift action, this house cleaning. What I really think they're doing is laying the groundwork for Kash Patel. So clearing the human brush out of the DOJ and the FBI. Of course, several January 6th prosecutors also were let go last week. So I think that what they're doing is clearing away the human obstacles to any investigations or inquiries that Kash Patel wants to pursue after he is confirmed. But the thought for J6ers that their tormentors, whether they're prosecutors or FBI agents who are responsible for trying to destroy their lives over going into a government building on a Wednesday afternoon, I know I'm hearing from this, and this is probably as gratifying to them as the pardons were, because it's nice for them to finally see some accountability for the people who did this to them.
So I'm hearing these little rumblings about FBI lawyers saying, you can't do this, it's unconstitutional. Is that going to hold any water?
Right. So Norm Eisen, our favorite lawfare architect, and Mark Zaid, who also has been involved in the lawfare against the president and his supporters, they sent a letter to the DOJ I believe it was yesterday, warning the DOJ. Now, this is really rich, right? The same people who have denied and violated the due process rights of J6ers and President Trump, by the way, led to targeted harassment of January 6 defendants and their family members, violated their due process and their constitutional rights. Now, Norm Eisen and Mark Zaid are claiming that any firing or reassignment or attempting to remove these FBI DOJ employees out of the department, that they are going to pursue legal action against the Trump administration for doing that. I posted the letter on my X account this morning if people want to check it out. It's just too ironic to see Mark Zaid and Norm Eisen complain that the constitutional rights of these FBI and DOJ employees could be violated when that's exactly what they've done to 1,600 plus Americans. Apparently, there were more investigations underway, Benny. They were saying there's reports that there were 2,400 total investigations into January 6th. So had President Trump not won, those prosecutions, those cases would have been pursued, resulting in arrests and prosecutions of hundreds of more J6ers.
Please tell me, Julie, that the FBI is not going to stage a walkout against this. There's rumblings here that the FBI is going to do a walkout. Now, we remember what happened the last time that the Lady Ghostbusters went out and kneeled to BLM. I think we should let's grab those images, please, boys. But apparently, there's rumors of an FBI walkout about to happen. What's your message to those FBI agents?
I say go ahead and do it. You need to stand your ground. You need to exercise your rights to protect the deep state and protect your jobs. As one of the New York, I believe it was the New York FBI field office director sent this email over the weekend as well to his colleagues, urging them to stand their ground, that he was going to dig in his heels. He was not going anywhere, that they're entitled to these jobs. So I think that they should walk out, Benny, and let the American people see who they are and their sense of entitlement and their hopefully accountability that's coming for all of them. So let's pull them out of the shadows. Let's see who they are and explain themselves why they think that they're entitled to these federal jobs when they are responsible for destroying the public's trust in the DOJ and FBI. These are the people, yes, the heads, the seventh floor, the director, that deputy director, including the Washington field office who was fired last week. But this is a rank and file problem issue. So yes, I strongly encourage a walkout. Let's see them.
Please, more photos like this. It's like, get there you go. Show us exactly who you are. We're really looking forward to seeing exactly who walks out. We'll be happy to cover it on this program, along with some of the more interesting, resistance efforts, like what you mentioned, that there's now FBI agents that are going to stand against Trump. I read that email because you posted it. We're going to burrow in and we're going to make a foxhole and we're going to hunker down. What they're showing is that there really is literally a fifth column that was planning on resisting Trump and sabotaging him and kneecapping him. And so that human brush is just utterly being cleared out. And that happened to start on Friday. What can we expect to happen today with the J6 inquiry and with the order? Maybe you can just detail and predict what's about to happen, perhaps as soon as today.
Well, those questionnaires are due by 3:00 this afternoon. Now, it appears that there is also some insubordination by the acting director, Brian Driscoll. I would not be surprised if he does not survive the day here, because there are reports, and I think an email that he sent as well, indicating that he was not planning to cooperate with this inquiry into all of the J6 investigators and agents. So he may not survive the day. We will see if these questionnaires are returned. Also, Politico, and I posted this as well, Politico did have access to one of these questionnaires. There's 12 questions on there. It's pretty detailed. They want to know if an agent or investigator over surveilled Americans, if they sought grand jury subpoenas, if they were witnesses, because of course a lot of FBI agents, Benny, were witnesses for the government during these J6 proceedings and trials. So they want a very detailed accounting of what these FBI employees did. Now, if there are 6,000, will they all be fired? No, but they could be reassigned. What they're doing and what they did with some of these top DOJ officials is move them to that sanctuary cities enforcement unit that they just created. So maybe the DOJ will say, hey, we've got a problem on the southern border. You guys have terrorism expertise, because of course this was a domestic terror investigation. So now we're going to send you to the southern border, or we're going to send you to other components throughout the DOJ where you can help enforce immigration law and do something really productive instead of chasing down 60-year-old grandmas from Florida who went inside the Capitol for 8 minutes, more than 4 years ago.
It's just so delicious. I mean, it is so delicious. All of these little urchins, they went crawling on their bellies to the Democrat Party to do their bidding and to torture Americans and to torture Americans, good Americans, who did nothing wrong, who were innocent. And they did it because they thought that the Democrat Party would be in power forever, and that they were just servile, reptilian behavior to just bow to your masters and do anything. I mean, just to prove, I'm so in favor of this because what it proved is that they'll do anything for power. And there was absolutely no morality behind any of this, no integrity at all. What is the FBI's little motto, right? Integrity is part of it. There was none of that. They were just reptilian, slithering on their bellies to torture as many Americans as the government said do, because they thought that would be permanent Democrat rule forever. And now they're finding out, man, and it's just amazing. It's just the greatest time. It's the golden timeline. It's the sacred timeline, Julie. It's so fun. Someone finding out is Chuck Schumer. This is just too much fun. We just played a Chuck Schumer clip of him with an avocado and a Corona. Maybe he's slamming that Corona to take the edge off of a letter right here from your friend, who's now the new acting district attorney. I'm sorry, the new district attorney, U.S. district attorney, who says when you threatened the Supreme Court, what did you mean by that? We take this kind of stuff very seriously. Were you saying that you want people to go kill Supreme Court justices? This is amazing. What's going to become of this now, Julie?
So this was a letter sent by acting DC U.S. Attorney Ed Martin to Chuck Schumer on January 21st, letting him know basically they were going to be investigating Chuck Schumer's comments that he made in March of 2020, targeting Brett Kavanaugh and targeting Neil Gorsuch, calling them out by name as the Supreme Court was listening to oral arguments on that Louisiana abortion case. So it was quickly denounced even by Nancy Pelosi. Chief Justice John Roberts issued a very rare statement denouncing Chuck Schumer for calling them out, these justices by name, and basically threatening them. You're going to reap the whirlwind, or you're going to. I posted the quote on Twitter, on X as well.
You'll pay the price. You won't know what hits you. And we have to be very careful, Julie, on this program to make sure that we're never sanctioning violence. Nothing we can ever say could ever be even misconstrued as a call to violence. We're very careful about that, obviously.
Right.
Never, ever, ever done that. But this is like a clear and open call for violence. You won't know what hits you. You're going to reap the whirlwind. You're going to pay the highest price. Dude, you're threatening the lives of a Supreme Court justice. That's what you're doing, Chuck Schumer.
Correct. And he tried to walk it back, Benny, and say, oh, that's just the Brooklyn in me. I got really fired up because this protest, and there's no excuse. And then, of course, 2 years later, there was an attempted assassination of Brett Kavanaugh. And we know that conservative justices, have been targeted by these organized groups, and even going after Amy Coney Barrett's children. So Chuck Schumer, so I, of course, welcome this investigation. We'll see what Chuck Schumer has to say about it. But I really applaud Ed Martin. And of course, Ed Martin is also conducting an internal inquiry into the DOJ's use of 1512C2 that was reversed by the Supreme Court last summer. and why the DOJ used that corporate fraud statute unlawfully against at least 350 J6ers. So I really kudos to everyone. This team is doing, not wasting any time. They're going after the right targets, the right people. And this is just the beginning, and we'll see what happens in terms of accountability. But this is a very good start.
That's what everybody tells us inside the administration. So we like pick up the phone and they're like, just prep us for the week ahead, right? It's moved so quickly. We want to be able to be there for our audience. We want to be the front seat of the golden era. And they're like, oh, you thought last week was good.
Just wait, right?
Just wait. Like, that's like amazing. Everybody, like from the highest levels of the White House, are like, oh, you don't understand. Like, this is just the paperwork era. Like, we haven't even gotten started yet. And it's like, I can't take all this winning. I guess Trump predicted it. Final commentary from you, Julie. Since you brought up Kash Patel, now you said Kash is they're clearing the way. They're clearing the human brush for Kash Patel. What do you expect to happen? As we heard even last week, and this shocked me. We heard even last week multiple senators say Kash is going to get confirmed. He's in, right? Multiple senators during his hearing were like, "You will be the next FBI director." I mean, it's like lots of certitude around Kash Patel. What do you want him to do? So let's say all these firings are out of the way. It seems like those are happening in quick order. What's the first steps for Kash if you were advising him?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Obviously, the J6 investigating the investigators and the prosecutors, if Pam Bondi wants to do that as well, but opening up all the books at the FBI into the J6 investigation, any sort of collusion with the judges, any collusion with the Biden White House. We definitely saw that in the classified documents case with the president. So I think he really will, and this could be what will be one of the outcomes of this questionnaire, is collecting the names of the agents, what exactly they did, kind of categorizing them in terms of direct involvement, or they were just kind of overseeing some of these cases generally. So that definitely the classified documents case, the FBI raid, how it violated the terms of the search warrant. Also the use of lethal force policy that was included there, all of the agents who were responsible. And then, as we know, doctoring evidence at the scene. And then what we learned in the court proceedings, mishandling and possibly misplacing some of the files that were collected at Mar-a-Lago. So I think those probably will be two of his top priorities, but he's got a very long list. And Kash is an expert. He has seen this lawfare from the very beginning, and he's been a victim of it himself, as he talked about last week. So he's going to have his hands full, but he'll have great people around him, and Kash will be very capable of handling all of this.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to filibuster. I just have to very quickly, since you brought it up, and since this went viral this weekend, it went thermonuclear viral. I couldn't believe it. I said history will record that the FBI deciding to raid Melania's closet will go down as the single costliest miscalculation in political history, ultimately leading to the entire dismantling of the deep state and ruthless dispatching of thousands of feds who crossed her. Femme fatale. Do you agree that the Melania closet raid by these degenerates, these perverted degenerates who clearly thought they could just torture Melania, like this is what it was about, right? To prove that they could just torture this woman. Do you believe that actually that was the nexus point? Do you believe that that was the moment where the timelines split?
I definitely think the raid itself was a pivotal turning point for a lot of Americans, but especially on the right, seeing the extreme that this DOJ and FBI will go to target the president, put his family at risk, put his employees at risk. Look, Benny, this raid was never necessary. I mean, and there's reporting now that there was a conflict within the FBI saying that the raid was not necessary because Donald Trump and his lawyers were fully cooperating, which they were. But they were overruled by George Toscas, who is a DOJ official. I think he's on his way out. He's been reassigned. He'll probably quit as well. And so it was never necessary. And Melania Trump wrote about this in her book, how violated she felt, how it was just, she was so used to her husband and her family being surveilled and targeted. But this was a whole different thing for her, in that it really terrified her, and terrified her for her son as well, because Barron's room was rummaged through and raided as well. So yes, I definitely think you are right. That was a pivotal moment. And boy, did it backfire big time.
We're pretty upfront about our Melania simping around here, and we're not ashamed of it. You can't shame us over that. Like if Vogue won't do the work, then we will. Okay, all right. Don't raid Melania's closet. And also, lady grew up under the Soviet bloc. Like she understands what it's like to actually have a Gestapo, like raiding your home and having zero private property and zero privacy. So I think that was like extra triggering as a glorious F around and find out moment. Julie Kelly's full of them, and you got to follow Julie Kelly. Probably the biggest FAFO feed in the world right now is the Julie Kelly feed, with 820,000 Americans following along, and on her way to 1 million patriotic Americans is the great Julie Kelly for the best reporting out there on all of these things, but certainly the bloodletting in the deep state. Go follow Julie Kelly, obviously. Godspeed, Julie.
You too, Benny. Thanks so much for having me on.